Great. We've had such an overwhelming response with our first pop-up. And I think it only gives me a lot more hope to do more and to drive this going forward. So I'm very excited. In fact, planning my next, which will happen in a couple of days. So just doing a little bit of R&D again to just see how better we can make it all for our customers. Good. I mean, I have a great vendor who has been hands-on. So in that case, I've touchwood I haven't had a problem as yet. So even in Japan, like the source of where matcha is from, which is Japan. Like I have a friend who's currently there and said that each customer can only buy two at a time. And they have like a timeline, like you can only come at 10 a.m. when the stores open, and each can only build two so that everyone has chance to buy. So you can't like overstock as well. I mean, see, the struggle is definitely there. It's real. Shortage is a problem. But I feel like it is also important to know, and for customers also, and for me as a business owner to be also very aware of the reality and not live in a bubble. So to source correctly, to stock up correctly. And the minute your customers know that there is a shortage, I think they know the reason why it's expensive. They are willing to wait. I think once there is some sort of clarity, I don't think customers are going to have an issue. I think you just have to be transparent with your customers. So for me, it's identity. I am representing culture myself. I'm representing, like I always say, it is beyond a beverage, it is beyond a product. Like for me, the matcha is just the medium. The reason why you and I are on this call is the medium, which is matcha. And for me, that is beautiful. Like you're sitting in another country, we're literally in two different continents, but it's a product that has brought us together. I personally in my life have built relationships like this, because there's a very famous saying that goes in Bangalore. I'm sure Coffee Day, that has a tagline that says a lot happens over coffee. And I feel like personal relationships, professional relationships, the fact that I'm even an entrepreneur today is because of a product. So that for me is very liberating personally. It makes me feel very empowered. So a drink is making me feel empowered. I personally feel like this is what the brand needs to do for my customers. Like when I did my first pop-up a few days ago, I had a child as young as 4 years come and make matcha, and I established a relationship with a 4-year-old child and her parents. And I understood mindset of parents, that I understood the mindset of a 4-year-old. When I was 4, I probably didn't even drink milk, and today there are kids who want matcha. So look at the level of exposure we as individuals, as children, and I've had someone as old as 75 come to my stall and say, and wanted to understand, because it's either people are coming there for either curiosity, for health, or just aesthetic. Everyone has a choice and a preference, and we're not judging and saying this is right and this is why you should only drink matcha. You are catering to everybody, and everybody should be able to enjoy a cup. So for me, whether it's tea, coffee, matcha, I think the minute you get to have a conversation with someone, and it can be anything, like we're not necessarily talking about the drink. It can be knowing the person. A lot of first dates happen over coffee. You're getting to know a person, you're getting to know a family, you're getting to establish business relationships. For me, that is a medium. It's comfort for me. So that's what I want to do with Ella, because that was beverage, or that was the relationships I built while I was spending time in cafes, or while I was getting coffee elsewhere. And I want that to do. And when I'm saying it's not only about the product is also important, but it's not only the product. The product is important, because if I drink a bad coffee or a bad matcha, it's ruining my mood, and thereby probably might ruin the conversation I'm having with you. So everything is equally important, but what I'm trying to say is everything enhances and elevates, and it's just a medium. That is what this brand means to me. Most definitely. I also feel like when you're starting a business of your own, you have complete ownership of everything that goes right and wrong. And that for me gives me so much empowerment because you have control. Like when in my profession, I'm an actor by profession, nothing is in my control. But when I'm a business owner, everything is under my control. So the appreciation, the feedback, the criticism is all mine and all mine to take. Whether it's a movie and when I'm an actor, a part of the credit or a part of the criticism comes to me, not the whole. I don't have to bear the burden if things go wrong in my profession as an actor. But as a profession, as an entrepreneur, I bear all of it. And in a way, I feel like today I have massive, massive respect for people that start businesses of their own because it's not easy. And my biggest learning from day one has been that always show up for someone starting a business of their own because it is not easy in whatever way, emotional, mental, financial, just show up for them because today on the other side, I realized that I'm so blessed, honestly. I was never that person for a friend or a family when they started their own business because I never understood, because I thought it was easy. It came to you easy, it's pretty straightforward. But today, I think it's important to support businesses, to support individuals. I think it's just a message, all it takes is, hey, I see what you're doing. I'm wishing you luck, to just show up. I had friends and family just show up at my pop-up. They have no idea about matcha and they drank the matcha. For me, that is showing up. That is support. And that is something that I've learned, to just show up for people. It is liberating because you have a lot of financial power. You have a lot of creative decisions to make. And I feel like you feel powerful, to be honest. Like, you feel like you feel great. And there's so much learning, like knowing that things will go right, things will also go wrong, but to know that you have to get up, like you have to do this because you came so far, like you've started the brand, now there is no going back. So it's like bringing a child into this world. Now you nurture the child, so that's what this brand has taught. For me, I think I started to stress a lot of people around me. First, simply because I'm a first-time entrepreneur, I have no idea. So I had to fall back on people that ran businesses before to guide me, because it's all a learning. My sister runs a business of her own. She's an entrepreneur. My husband runs a business of his own, is an entrepreneur. So I always went back to them for advice. So it's important to also have people that can, give you clarity, not to probably put a lot more on your table, but to give you some sort of clarity. Because at the end of the day, no matter how much advice you get, at the end of the day, the decision is always yours. And I personally believe the decision has to be always yours, because tomorrow we don't want a blame game. So for me, to cope is to actually write everything down. And then if there are professionals or experts in the field, I'd always ask them for help. And to always go back to entrepreneurs who started businesses from scratch, and to always take their advice and then make a final decision. And things will go wrong. But I think it's also important to understand that there's always a solution. There's always a plan B. And to just go ahead with plan B. It doesn't matter, because this is all a learning. Nothing ever comes on a silver plate. So you have to learn, you have to make your mistakes, you have to take help. Yeah, so I've been doing research for the brand for a very long time now, because I realized that I don't want to just hop in because everyone's doing it. I feel like if I'm doing it, I need to come well prepared. Wherever it is, like I always, in life generally, like I need to know what tomorrow looks like. And if I'm building a brand that needs to last, I need to start prep from a really long time. And so prep was always there. And then the reason, I'll tell you why cafes play such an integral part in my life. For anybody that has known me for the longest time, I've just spent time in cafes. Whether it's over coffee, tea, matcha, I have always been there. And when I say as young as when I was in school, like I would go do homework in cafes. I would study for examinations in cafes. I would teach my friends in cafes. I feel like cafes, for some reason, expose a part of ourselves where we're very vulnerable with the other person. It's quite, I love being by myself. I love being there with my friends. I love being there with my family. I love being there with my husband. I feel like the experiences are different from each set of people that you are spending time with. And when I'm there by myself, what I like to do is I understand a lot more about myself, whether it is reading, journaling, listening to music, or just observation. Because one of the other reasons why I spend a lot of time in cafes is observation. Because I'm an actor, I like to observe people. I like to observe why people do what they do. Like, even if it's a sensory experience in a cafe, the smell of coffee, the sound of the the coffee machine steaming or frothing milk, it's all sensory experiences. Like how someone's on a first date in a cafe, how someone's going through a breakup in a cafe, how someone's working in a cafe, or how someone's just all alone on a call or just on their phone. You see different kinds of people and how everyone's living such a different life, but in one room. Sometimes I'm probably like sitting next to someone and I borrow a pen, but that borrowing a pen leads to a business relationship. So for me, I personally feel like cafes are my second home. My mom says if Rachel's not at home, she's in a cafe, and she'll know exactly which cafe I'm going to be in also. So I feel like I have built some of the most beautiful relationships in cafes. I love observation. I love the sound. I love the smell. I just feel like it brings people together. The ambience of a bar or a restaurant is so different from a cafe. Cafe feels very warm.
Like home,
It feels like it feels like my safe space. If I'm having a bad day, I'm in a cafe. In fact, I just came back from a cafe. It's like you don't need anybody around. You just need your drink, a book, and just the space. Like, even if I'm traveling to another country, I have a list of cafes that I want to travel to. I want to visit. Not because it's famous or not because it's fancy, because it can be something that I just walk across and someone is just brewing coffee, making matcha, or making tea for the love of it, not to prove anything to anybody. They just want to be hospitable. They want to be welcoming. You and I have bumped into it, like we've crossed paths in a cafe, but we didn't know. Like, how magical is that? It is primarily the same. I don't see the two any differently. But with an on when, like I said before, like with an entrepreneur, everything is under your control. When you're employed or when you work for another profession, things are not in your control. Thereby, I've learned that you can't complain. When things are of your own, like, don't complain. You have the power, you get to work and do it. So primarily it's the same. I don't see, in fact, I only see one benefiting the other. Things I learned from entrepreneurship, I have to and will put it into my professional career as an actor, and likewise my acting into entrepreneurship. And I feel like in a lot of ways, it is a very creative field. It is a field where there is so much self-expression, and that self-expression can be in any form. So I don't see the two, and I don't want to see it any differently. One was that I was very determined. I was very sure I'm going to do this. That earlier and even now, like earlier it was to start the brand, and now I'm determined to take the brand to an identity that I believe it has, upwards from now. Yeah. Two is the R&D. There was a lot of learning I had to do and unlearning, and that's something I'll also have to continue going forward, is that I will learn and also unlearn with mistakes that I make, with the feedback that I get. So determination is one, learning is one, and the other one is it would be to believe in myself. I think there are chances, or in this journey there will be a lot of self-doubt. There was self-doubt starting off while it's happening, and going forward, I'm sure there will be. But I think that's something that I want to stick it through, like in the sense that there will be times of self-doubt, but to know that the reason I'm here today is because I went past all that doubt and it has come into fruition today. It is because I mean, I learned this at a very young age, that I saw failure at a very young age and didn't know how to handle it, especially in a field that is so glamorous and so public. When I saw failure at a very young age, it was hard because I didn't know how to deal with it. So it did take a toll on me. But today, as an adult with a lot more clarity and maturity, I have a better understanding and a better coping mechanism with failure. So I think I would say it's my past experiences. So I am very self-aware to know that things can go wrong and things will go wrong, but to not stop at it. I think it is just the acknowledgement that things will go wrong. I cannot live in a bubble saying everything is going well and thereby it will go well. Things have gone wrong, things will go wrong, but I just need to keep going. So I think that is just awareness. I think the word here is just awareness and acknowledgement, knowing and thereby accepting and learning through the process. And if you don't have a great support system like family and friends, especially your immediate family, this would have been a, a harder journey for me. And today I can say I'm very blessed. The reason I'm sitting here knowing that the brand is where it is only because I've had that support. Because otherwise, and people that don't have support and still establish brands, immense respect for them, because then they're on a harder journey. You know, no journey, whether you come from wealth, whether you come from power, whether you come with influence, it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, you need to act. You know, it doesn't matter what you come from. You take it forward. I think it would be trust. Give them the benefit of doubt, but business means it's cutthroat. And as much as I, as a brand, want to be there, I also feel like it's important to protect sanity by, I think, one doesn't know, like, you may not know my intention, I may not know your intention, as much as we're all, you know, in the same field and, you know, trying to do, I also feel like trust shouldn't be taken or given very easily. And two, I think time, because that's another thing that's also very important. Another thing, I don't want to give up very easily, sleep. Like, I think it's important to have boundaries as well, because it's your own and it's precious. I feel like it's also important to draw boundaries to know, because it can take a toll in the long run. Today we may not see it, but I think in the long run, it's important to also keep your health and well-being in place. I think I will take 100% credit for that. Like, I deserve everything that I have and have built in terms of my brand or identity just as a person, because there are years of struggle that no one has seen. So what you see on social media is probably 1% of the best part of my life. But and I'm not going to shy away from taking credit of that, because I don't come from family that has been in the industry when it comes to films. I've come from a family of entrepreneurship, but nobody in the food and beverage F&B industry. So everything that I started from scratch. So why not take credit? Like, why shy away from it? Like, you deserve it. If you put your heart, soul, sweat, blood, money, time into this, then why shy away from it? Like, you deserve to take that credit. And don't let anybody take that away from you also. And don't let anybody discount what you're trying to build. And if they're trying to do that, cut them up like immediately, because going forward, it could bring you down. So it's also important to identify all of this. One thing, I think one value is is to always put God first. Like everything and anything that I have built, blessed with, is because I've always put God first. And I always say that anything that I've started is because He has done it for me. Otherwise, who is giving me that strength internally? Everything that I've prayed for, I've got when I've deserved to get it, not when I prayed for it, but in time. Like I've prayed for this all my life to start a brand of my own, but God provided it for me today, now, because I was ready for it now. So that's a value I always believe, is to always put God first and to never forget that there is a higher power. Two is discipline. I am a sports person. I am a state level athlete. A lot of my discipline comes because I was into sports. To just show up, it's never overnight success. It's never overnight winning a trophy or a medal. It is hard work, and it is also very important to be consistent. And I'm a big planner, and I always believe you have to plan. And lastly, I think honesty. You just have to be honest. You like something, you don't like something, just be honest. I think no more being people pleaser, but just to be very authentic, because that's what will take you in the long run. You like something, say you like it. You don't like something, say you don't like it. But also be very respectful about how you're saying it and why you're saying it. Honestly, at some point, it'll be shown if this is something you're just doing for the sake of doing. So it takes a toll. Like it's really hard to do that. So why do that? Like I think I have enough on my shoulder, and that this is the last thing I need to be worried about. People, the world doesn't need to know everything. I feel like there, especially when you're a public figure, already too much is out. So try to protect as much as you can, because everything is precious. Your sanity is precious. Your personal life is precious. So, but when you're putting it out, be honest about what you're putting out, or just don't do it. So then you're not lying, you know. So I feel like, as a person, if I feel like sharing, I will share. But if I feel like the world doesn't need to know, they don't need to know. And why say something that I don't believe in it and then put it out? I had to unlearn impatience. Like I want to get things done right now. I think that's something business will teach you. Things don't happen. Something goes wrong, a vendor doesn't feel like picking up your call, he just doesn't feel like picking up your call. So you can't be like, I have to get the work done right now. So I think patience is something that I think anything, just as a person, is important to know. Forget about your professional identity, but I think inherently it's important to learn how to be patient. I think a lot more energy, you know. When you were younger, you had a lot more energy. I feel like you could divert your energy into a lot of things. But I feel like growing older, it's important to know where you want to put like your energy. Like it's important to know that, because not everything done hard fetches you the best.
True. Yeah.
You know, it's also important to be aware that you need to know where to draw the line. Like if things are like, but not that you're not going to try at all. It's important to know when to start and when to stop. And as kids, I think that was something I enjoyed, because there was also innocence, right? Like you had nothing to lose. Today, as adults, we have everything to lose. You know, we're worried about what people may think. We're worried about how much money is on the table. We're worried about too many things. See, I have learned to, there was a phase where everything was about external beauty, and how, like, because I'm an athlete, I have scars all over my body. I'd never embraced it then, but today I embrace it all. Quite ironic, because I would have, or ideally people would have thought that she would probably want to hide it, but I've never wanted to hide any of that. And simply because I feel like I also learned this at a very young age. I thought being in this industry, beauty meant looking beautiful. But today I know that that's not what it means. Like today, if you ask me, whatever decisions I made in the past, right or wrong, has led me here. So it's hard to say if we made the right or the wrong decision,
Yeah.
because my mistake might lead to my next biggest blessing. So it's like so again, I believe God has already have made a plan for me. So wrong choices lead to the right things, right choices lead to the wrong things, right choices lead to the right things, wrong lead to wrong. So it's really hard to put them in a box and say, no, I don't think so. But I feel like people ask you, do you have regrets? I feel like saying, oh yes, I have regrets, it means that there is a reason why that happened for you to say that today. And if you don't have closures when you could probably say that, I think I've tried to get closure for everything that I've done right or wrong in my life to be here. So right or wrong, I think is again very subjective going forward in this journey. So you will go wrong, you will go right, and that is just life.